In our interview, Dr. Garba Abari speaks about the campaign to entrench patriotism among Nigerians. Dr. Abari Garba, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
So now that your agency is supposed to be a major player for the Change Begins With Me slogan, so to speak, how pushful are you towards this, making this happen?
What you see, perhaps you, as an individual, is what you see on the television screen. When I came on board, I designed what I call the local government assembly. This local government assembly provides me with a platform to directly engage with the people, directly. And it is a program which we intend to take to each and every local government in this country. Who constitutes the local government assembly? The traditional institutions in the local government, the local government bureaucracy and its leadership, political parties in the local government, the women groups in the local government, the youth groups in the local government, the local government NASIMA chapters where any exists, or the farmers' council or the farmers' cooperatives. We bring civil society in the local governments. We bring the religious groups across the divide in the local governments. By the time the security agencies in the local government, by the time you are able to bring such a wide spectrum of representation under one roof and you engage with them and you tell them directly and you take feedback, you can be assured that you must have reached at least more than half of the households in that particular local government. Of course, we have run in quite a number of local governments in North Central states. We are going to parts of the south. It is an open assembly. It's simple. It's direct. You talk to the people, and then the people give the feedback. Now, this feedback gets back to the government. And what I have discovered in this local government assembly is something actually which will enrich our democracy and enrich the Nigerian state. And of course, also inform the political leadership of the fact that we have no governmental presence at the local government level.
Now, you see, this local government assembly really, you might say, or everyone might say, it's commendable, but again, how the difficulty in changing the psyche of people is what is at stake right now. So I know your predecessors have tried the same, means to get the people change their psychology, get them to really start the change from their own end. But how feasible is this at the end of the day?
I give a lot of commendation to my predecessors. A lot has been done in that respect. A lot needs to be done. But changing of perspective is as much the affairs and the business of the government as it is your business and mine. First and foremost, how do we do that? What are the principal foundational levels of character formation and the behavior? The family. Quite a number of people around this country will agree with me are no longer parenting, simply because we have allowed values to go down. And these values, call them whatever. They could be religious values, they could be African values, they could be Nigerian values, but they are values which must govern our lives.
And you don't think you're concentrating too much at the bottom?
No, we are not at all. Because the point here is the family actually, which is supposed to be the foundational level at which character and the behavior should be formed, is also being affected by the collapse of family values. So we are taking the message of, first and foremost, making parents realize that there is a need. There is a need for all of us as individuals to ensure that we keep a very good eye on our children and the kind of things that we inculcate in them. That's one. Two, to complement what the families are doing by our education system, which unfortunately also has suffered, from these collapsed values. The education system, perhaps because of persistent experimentation, has along the road missed so much of the basis. So much so that you see our education system really not bringing or educating or inculcating the kind of values that should go into our younger ones.
But how concerned is NOA about this? Do you have any role to play in reshaping this trend?
The NOA as a government agency has a role to play. There are also other stakeholders that should play complementary roles. But let me start with the National Orientation Agency first. The law that sets up the agency talks about or mandates the agency to propagate government policies and programs and inform the citizens and elicit feedback. And at the same time, inculcating the citizenry all the core values, the universally cherished values, without which no country makes progress. In the case of Nigeria, these values are encapsulated in Section 2, subsection 23 of the Nigerian Constitution. Unfortunately, many of the citizens, including our topmost elites, are not even aware that these are the core values that should govern our national life. The values of honesty, discipline, self-reliance, tolerance, love for a nation, and what have you.
So would you say that you're ramming down change begins with me?
Well, we are not ramming down change begins with me, because change begins with me is only one aspect of the policies of government, of the present administration. And at whatever forum I find myself, I tend to say that almost every Nigerian that loves this country is not happy with the state of our being as a nation. And because we are all not happy, wherever you get a group of people, 2, 3, 4, they always talk about how bad things have become in this country, how much government has not done this, how much leaders have not done that. But nobody actually has sat down to self-police and to self-criticize and to self-examine. And this is a problem. We say, why don't we start the process from ourselves, as individuals, as groups, as institutions, as leaders, across the broad spectrum of our national framework.
How easy is that? When you see a lot of fraud going on at the top, you see a lot of indiscipline and all of that, how easy would that be for those at the bottom? It
is very difficult. It is actually not easy, but it is not something that we can simply throw our hands in the air and keep our arms akimbo and say we are not going to do anything about it. It is still better to do, no matter how minimal, to commence the process of correcting the wrongs. So I am not unaware of how difficult it is, but I'm also confident that problems do exist. We shouldn't run away from problems. They are meant to be surmounted. What strategies you deploy, what efforts you put in place to solve the problems actually depends on your own understanding.
When you look at these news constantly, grazing the papers, and the people are not in any means encouraged. Do you see this drive, see any silver lining? Do you see any silver lining in your drive?
I do not agree that Nigerians are not keen in to the problems and to especially the anti-corruption crusade. Of course, across the divide, you find lots of discontent.
Yes.
Which is true. And this discontent is real. We just cannot assume that they don't exist. But it's not a death sentence. We have to get ourselves out of it. And it has to be collective. It cannot be an individual effort. It has to be a collective effort. And this can only would only come about through political inclusion, like I have said.
Is that possible?
Yes. It tells you that Nigerians are actually tired of the present state of being, and each and everyone who actually wants to see a different Nigeria is playing one role or the other. And these roles don't have to come only within the political sphere. When you want to be self-sufficient and you want to change from being a briefcase carrying person knocking on one door to another looking for contracts, you want to go back to the village and begin to cultivate yams or beans or rice or whatever so that you become self-sufficient and earn a living. You are now keen into the process of changing the destiny of our country.
Thank you so much, Dr. Garba Abari. Thank you for coming on Dateline Abuja.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
Yes. Well, thank you for your meals as always. I'll take a few of them right away. This one is coming from Lawal or Lasumbo. It says, I crossed my heart a very long time ago that all our politicians and office holders are nothing but liars. They need to walk their talk. Well, I also have this one coming from Ekemini Udim, and it says, we need the Minister of Petroleum, in this case, President Muhammadu Buhari, to rise to the occasion and address the nation on this fuel scarcity issue. Well, finally, I have this one coming from Precious. It says, it is alarming that Abuja is at the heart of this petrol scarcity. Obviously, the whole country should be worried. The president should look into this matter as well as the herdsmen issue and bring the change he promised. Well, thank you very much, Ekemini and Precious, and a whole lot of you who have sent in your views and comments. Please do keep sending in those comments using the email address and Twitter handle on your screen. Also, be sure to share anything happening within your locality. Now, don't you forget, you can view the program on youtube.com/channelsweb/videos. You can also drop your comments on any of the videos and be sure to include your name and location. Well, thank you for watching this week. I'm Gloria Umezeke. See you again.